Hey, it's the Lowco Grind. Welcome, Lowco wrestling fans and wrestling fans around the world. It's the Lowco Grind. We got the legendary George Dixon, the dean of Lowco officials and really South Carolina officials, most respected wrestling official I know by a long shot. Everybody loves George and myself, Justin Jarrett. I don't know how people feel about me, to be honest, because I wear it all out there on my sleeve. I think I mostly make friends out there. Seem to be friendly with all the people on the traveling circus, but I probably rub some people the wrong way. Certainly, some refs probably have some feelings about me because I'm loud.
Well, I'm sure I rub people the wrong way at times as well. So, I mean, there's at least a few assistant coaches out there that give me the side eye, as I go by. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I
got
think
a little,
for the most
you got a
part.
little saucy on Saturday at May River. You had to tell people to stay where they're supposed to be, and that was fun. I like
Yeah,
when George gets testy.
yeah. The one crew, they kept creeping up, and it's like, I don't want to have to hit you for the unsportsmanlike point. I said, I expect this is going to be a close duel. So if I hit you for the unsportsmanlike, that's the first criteria of the tiebreaker. So you just cost yourself on the match because you couldn't keep your kids off the mat and over on the side.
Wasn't just my kids; it was assistant coaches who were.
Well, the one assistant coach as well. Yeah.
So, but it was good times over there. It's been a great run that we've had here. May River does a great job of keeping us busy over that week between Christmas and New Year's. Between their Shark Invitational, US Army Shark Invitational, which you weren't at that one, were you? Were you busy somewhere else?
I was breezing it up in Hawaii at that point, I think.
Oh, teaching them Hawaiian ref. Man, those Hawaiian refs get a lot of one-on-one time with you, George.
Dude, we had a good time with them. They treated me right. I actually made it back for day 2 of the Shark, and I evaluated the officials that were there at the tournament. But I left on the 28th at 9 p.m. Hawaii time and 2 a.m. our time, and I got back on the 29th at about 7 p.m. So, actually, it was a little late because our flight was late, so almost 8. So, a little over 18 hours of travel time that trip back. So,
goodness, worth it though for the time spent in the islands, I'm sure.
Yeah, I only had the one free day that I got to kind of go and do. I went out to the North Shore and went to Haleiwa, out surf town out on the North Shore and hung out there. Had some lunch. Beautiful view looking out, over the bay. I think it was called the Beach House, was the name of the restaurant, but beautiful views. Then had a little something done. Let's see, I don't know if I'll be able to get this or not. Let's see.
Looky there.
Well, I'm trying to find the angle there, but anyway, I got a little work done on my leg.
The crescent moon and palm. Yeah, palm and moon.
Yeah. So I got that done. And anyway, but I enjoyed myself. I had a good time with they have a really big girls tournament, the Peahi tournament, and that's 15 years in, I think, something like that. But they have college team coaches come in for girls, and they had college fair for the girls with those college coaches. So very, very cool setup for them. We evaluated the officials at a boys tournament on the 26th. Then the 27th, we went to the girls tournament, did some stuff there, and then we also did a morning clinic and afternoon clinic. They had a ton of officials there. They also had 4 ladies from the mainland that came in as well, and so we got to hang out with Kim Hernandez, Nadine Johnson, some other ladies as well from the mainland, and it was a good time. They did a wonderful job, treated us well, and I appreciate the folks there, including JP Rotan, their president, and Eric, their vice president as well. But the officials are there; they're eager to learn. So it's successful on both sides. It gives us an opportunity to go spread what our coach's biggest complaint: consistency. So that gives us an opportunity to see them and help get them, even though they're out in the middle of the Pacific, to get consistency with them with the rest of the nation. So
yeah, awesome stuff. So yeah, we had the Shark Invitational Monday, Tuesday, which was tremendous wrestling. May River with a really good showing to finish third in that. Bluffton had some good finishes and a solid team effort there. There were some good individual showings across the board. Really, Battery Creek couple placers, Hilton Head couple placers, and then Saturday we had a cool event with the duels at May River. They brought in some really good teams, and they didn't shy away from them. They knocked off Travelers Rest in a battle of 1 versus 2. Travelers Rest had jumped over May River in the 4A rankings. Those would probably flip back the other way. Although, as I understand it, I think Travelers Rest was down 2 or 3 guys, and May River was down a guy or 2 as well. So, it'll look different if they see each other again in the state championship match, but they'll both kind of know what they're working with, and it should be a great matchup. May River won that 37-33, and there were a bunch of matches that could have gone either way, or could have ended in more team points or less team points. So a lot to play with there. They lost to South Effingham, who they had beaten earlier. Again, just some swing matches that probably shouldn't have ended in pins did, and some of that stuff that kind of threw it off for them. But then they came back. They trounced Bluffton pretty good. So Sharks looking good. Battery Creek had a little bit of a tough day on Saturday, but they were punching above their weight a little bit. The May River brought in some pretty good teams for that duels event.
There were a lot of very good teams there, and kudos to the May River coaching staff for making that happen. Yeah. I mean, as a coach, you got to see the tough competition, and iron sharpens iron, that sort of thing. But the great matchup with Travelers Rest and May River, that's probably going to be the state finals match.
Seems like it.
And so it gives them an opportunity to kind of feel some things out and see where they may want to move some of the chess pieces.
I love that both teams wanted that. I mean, there aren't a lot of sports where number 1 would call up number 2 and go, "Hey, can we come down and play you?" And number 2 would go, "Heck yeah, come on down." I mean, they usually would want to put that off until the end of the season, but both teams wanted the smoke. They wanted to come and see what it looked like, and it was cool. I mean, the energy in there was palpable. You were on the call on that one, and there was a lot of energy in that building for that matchup, and it definitely felt like prelude to a rematch for a state championship, and it was very evenly matched. I mean, there were some good scraps.
Heck yeah, there were a lot of good scrambles. There was just good matchups where those kids were getting after it. Close calls that I didn't throw points on, but they were getting through it and getting after it, and I was doing my best just to let those guys wrestle and take care of their business. And I had to get into some stalling as well, but I mean, that's when most teams see me walk in the gym, they're going to go, "Okay, you got to get busy tonight," because we're he's going to call stalling. Travelers Rest hasn't seen me, so well, you can see it as an advantage or disadvantage, but I mean, you got to get out there and wrestle, and if you don't, you should be called. For that lack of action.
Watch you lay around.
No, you don't get to just lay there. You got to get busy, and whether it be the traditional stalling where one person's outworking the other, or that neutral boundary stalling where you left the mat and caused a stoppage, and that stoppage now we have to, as referees, determine who caused it. So and we had some of both of those.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we got a buddy waiting in the green room who was out there for a good bit of it. He was out there for almost all of the Shark Invitational. Our friend Nathan Chavaria Byrne joining us on the Lowco Grind. What's up, man?
Hey, doing good.
Hey, good evening.
You probably saw Nate sitting Matt's side at the Shark and taking a lot of video and photos and taking it in. Did some reporting for us on the Lowco Sports Lowdown the other night. But Nathan back in from Ohio State. He went to Battery Creek and Buford Academy, graduated from BA, and now up at Ohio State and cutting his teeth in the sports media field. And back for the holidays and wanted to get out and see some wrestling. And you saw some good wrestling out there, Nate. What were your takeaways from a great week out at May River?
Really good wrestling from May River. You know, they really haven't missed a step since winning state last year. Great wrestlers all the way around. Like I said before, you know, the B team really surprised me. B team was out there just dominating a lot of the guys out there. You know, I mean, I saw a B team wrestler at 106 wrestle their main guy right there. That really shows how good the depth is on this May River wrestling team. Really shows they haven't missed a step from last year. I'm sure they're going to go make a run for state. It was really nice. You know, May River is always that tournament you look forward to every single year. You get guys from all over. You know, it really just takes down, you know, 4A, 5A, 3A, really just the best wrestling in the state of South Carolina. I feel like that's the tournament you want to win as when you get the, you know, of course, state championship too, but state championship, you're only going against guys that are in 3A. At May River Invitational, you're going against Bluffton, Buford, Creek, all these schools from around the county. You know, it's really nice to see May River Invitational, and especially, you know, recently being sponsored by the US Army. It's really cool to see how far this tournament has come from when it started.
Yeah, we were up to 35 teams this year, and I suspect it'll grow even more because Pal invites everybody. I mean, if you say, I think we want to come next year, he says, come on, man. Just get in on it. And they do. We got to give love to the hospitality room because there's nothing more critical to a wrestling tournament than the hospitality room. It can really make or break your day, whether you're a ref or a coach or a media member. And May River leaves no doubt about the hospitality room. It's as good as it gets. You're getting 3 square meals a day and going home happy, and always got a place to go hide out and lay low for a little while. So shout out to my fellow May River wrestling parents. I made a small contribution, but the people who actually man it and cook the hot food, those are the true heroes. And we appreciate you because I ate well both tournaments over there. So George, what do you got up this week? I know we got you on Wednesday over at Battery Creek, Fort Dorchester and Hardyville come to the creek. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got you guys on that on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm in Georgia. Friday, I've got something going on, but it's family stuff. And then on Saturday, I'll be at I think is it JP2's duels or what is that? No,
I think it's Whale Branch. Whale Branch is hosting on Saturday.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Anyway, I'm busy Wednesday through Saturday. So.
And then we also have the middle school JV qualifiers at
that will be at Hilton Head. Yeah.
So it's hard to believe that we're already down to that we're down to state qualifiers for the middle school kids, the JV kids. Girls are separate now, right? They go to their own state qualifier.
No, the qualifiers I think are the same, but when they get to state, the girls will be at Gilbert and the boys will be at Lexington.
Oh, okay.
So I think the qualifier sites are the same, but it switches when they get to the state, the finals. Basically, the Carolina Invitational will be a girls division at Gilbert and a boys division at Lexington.
I got you. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Is that just for middle school girls or for high school as well?
No, that's just middle school. The girls' high school has their own state tournament at no longer Anderson. We're in Florence now. So, but yeah, they have their own division in Florence,
and their qualifiers are separate, correct? They have
those will be separate. Yeah, those are separate. Yeah.
All right, trying to get it all straight. We got some in every. All we don't have is middle school girls. We don't have any middle school girls, but we got everything else. So trying to make sure we get everybody where they're supposed to be to try to extend their season as long as we can. Yeah, you mentioned
the growth in the Low Country is tremendous, and it's it's a wonderful thing to see all the girls, the boys, middle school, high school, see them all growing. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I was there when girls wrestling really started to become a thing. Originally, we had no girls wrestling, so it's really nice to see how far it's come since when I was a freshman. I remember, Ginger Atha, she was a really good female wrestler that we had in our team. So it's really nice to see that the girls get their own state qualifier away from all the other guys. So it really shows how much the sport has come along in the Low Country.
Yeah, big time. And yeah, it was Ginger, and it was just a handful. It was one here, one there, and then Zeo Estrada came along at Hilton Head.
Yeah.
And that changed the metric a little bit, and you started to see some growth. And certainly we're still way behind, a good bit of the country when it comes to girls wrestling. There's a lot of places where there's a lot more full teams and those kinds of things, but
they're talking about they only need a handful more teams in South Carolina, and they can run 2 divisions for girls.
Really?
So by next year,
4A, 5A, and a 3A, 2A, 1A.
Yeah, probably something like that. But they'll have 2 girls divisions probably next year, because, like I said, they only need a handful of teams to put it over that threshold. So they have enough for 2.
Yeah, and we're close. I mean, we're about 6 weights we can fill right now, and if we can fill 8, then we got a shot. And that's the goal. We're recruiting like crazy. It's kind of a hard sell, It's always been a hard sell to get somebody to come out for wrestling, because it's not for everybody. It takes.
Well, the tough part is if you have 2 teams and you designate a girls' team, you kind of have to designate a time and space for them as well, aside from your boys. So now if you're coaching at both boys and girls teams, now you're there for 4 hours or whatever instead, that kind of thing.
And that's something I consulted with Powell on before our girls team really started to grow. When we started to get a few, I said, hey, what's the deal here? What do we declare a girls team or what? And it seems to be a little kind of unclear to people what exactly the ramifications are, but it does seem like if you declare a girls team, then your girls can no longer compete against boys, correct?
Correct. You have a girls team, they can only compete against girls at that point.
Hilton Head's girls can't compete against boys, and they can't join the boys team, or they can't put a girl in to take a forfeit or anything like that.
No, they are a standalone team at that point.
That's going to really deter smaller schools from doing it, because we need those girls. We need to be able to throw a girl in the lineup and take a forfeit, or just try not to get pinned for our varsity team. So it's a hard thing for us. Do we decide to try to grow the girls side of it on its own, or do we continue to try to keep them as one?
Well, I think the high school league said that you got to have a minimum of 7.
Yeah. See, my goal is to get the numbers where it's not even a question. If we get 15 girls out, then they made the decision for us. We have a girls team. Until we start to look like that, then we'll probably keep it as one. Just because it's more opportunities for them.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get them matches if we can only wrestle them against girls at this time. It'll get better eventually, but at this time it's hard. So anyway, what else we got coming up here, boys? I don't have a real good composite schedule, if I'm being honest. Coaches don't publish their schedules like they used to. They like to be secretive. I got to get in there on Arbiter and be able to see who all's doing what. But you know anything, George, about when we got any big matches coming up?
Isn't the 10th this Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Bluffton's Bobcat Duels.
Oh, okay.
That's where I'm at Saturday.
Okay. We've also got Whale Branch hosting duels that day that we're going to, I believe, and the middle school. So it'll be a big Saturday. There'll be a lot going on.
Yeah, plus the other qualifier at Hilton Head. So there'll be plenty of stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know Hilton Head, I think, just added a JV tournament maybe for Friday night.
I saw that it said Friday night. So are they doing the JV qualifier Friday night and then the middle school Saturday?
I think they're just doing a JV tournament.
A separate one?
It seems like
JV qualifier?
Yeah, I mean, because I got reached out to by our director of officials for the District 3 about Friday night, and that just popped up this week. So I don't think it's the qualifier. I think it's just a JV thing, maybe. I don't know. So Maybe that's part of the qualifier. I don't know.
No,
I
they've
didn't
got,
get, yeah.
all right, I think I see what's happening here. They've got the JV qualifier listed on Friday.
Okay.
And then they've got the
Middle school and girls on Saturday.
well, that's what I'm guessing. I'm looking for it here. But I didn't see it. I only saw it on Friday. What in the world?
Yeah, because originally it was the Saturday thing,
Right.
for all of them.
Yeah, they've got it scheduled JV on Friday. 89. And then they do not have anything scheduled on Saturday.
Well, there's no way they can run all that on Friday night. So
not a chance. No, it's
and
going
as it stands, it takes all day anyway. So on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, I support there's also a middle school individual championship at McCracken on the 13th.
That's on the 13th. Yeah, that's Tuesday.
That's cool.
And then the following Tuesday will be the middle school duels finals at Bluffton Middle, and that'll be 2 mats, 4 teams, the top 4 teams coming out.
All right, very cool. Yeah, I'm thinking they have to be doing the middle school on Saturday, but it's not showing up on there. It's only showing the JV on Friday. But that's got to be what's happening. Which splitting it up is great because you remember 2 years. Well, I don't know if you were there 2 years ago.
I was not there, but I heard how late it went. Yeah,
would have been even later if Chad Cox didn't make some phone calls and get 2 more people to go to state so we could drop 2 rounds of that thing.
Yeah, that was just. I mean, it's great. I mean, the upside is we got a whole lot of kids, right?
Yeah, good problem.
The downside is it goes longer. So
yeah, and we got to figure out some way to do the thing with the split brackets too, because we've all been there where you split the weight class into 2 brackets and you take the same number of qualifiers from each bracket, but then somebody who knows looks at it and goes, well, the best 8 guys in the weight are all in this one bracket. What do we do?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's happened a time or 2, but we're getting there. But what else went over? It was pretty slow over the break, really, other than our local tournaments. It didn't seem like
other than May River. I know they had a West Oak had a tournament up in their direction. So for the 3A power teams, there were several of those at the thing at West Oak. But other than that, I'm not sure what else was going on our side of the river.
The North Augusta tournament, we had a few people up there, but it wasn't a whole lot. Yeah, it's been, I guess people are laying low and trying to get healthy. And I know Buford pulled out of the May River duels because they had several guys banged up and after the Shark and needed to get healthy. So it's just kind of that time of year. You got people sick, you got people banged up, you got people out of town. It's hard to put a whole lineup together over the break unless you've got a really committed group like May River or some of those places. It's easy to 2 or 3 kids flake on some of us and we're in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where you wind up with a Calvary day school coming in from Savannah.
Right.
That
like
they weren't originally in, and they only had 6 kids. Yeah, so
yeah, and I thought about volunteering us to come in, but I was afraid we might show up with 5 or 6 kids too. That would have been embarrassing. But it's hard over the break, and unless you've you've really instilled a lot of commitment in your program, it's hard to get people to buy in to taking time away from family and that kind of stuff to come in and get the work in. But we had a number of kids, every time that I showed up to open the room, we had a number of kids who wanted to show up and get work and get better. So that's why you do it. That's why you show up, is for those handful who want the work and want to see what they can be. So we keep showing up, opening that room, mopping the mats, right, Coach? But But so May River's looking very solid. They're looking like a 4A state championship contender again. Probably be the number one team in the next rankings. Battery Creek looks like a solid contender in 3A, not a state championship contender, but a team that can make some noise, and they definitely got some guys who will compete for titles. Buford is kind of a work in progress. There's not a lot of depth there, and the injuries are a little bit of a concern, but they've got some high level guys. Hilton Head's always going to be solid and give you trouble. Bluffton is looking better and better. Nobody's on May River's level, but the rest of that region is going to be some good scraps. I think Buford, Hilton Head, Bluffton. I don't know what Bishop England's got this year. Colleton usually can't do a lot of damage in a duel situation, but I think those other three are going to be pretty even, right?
Yeah, and I think that they should push up at least a couple of rounds into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
With Bluffton, I mean, they're wrestling, pretty well. Nutter's got them doing a good job. I mean, obviously they made the final three out of the 12 teams that were there, so they won their pool.
That was a good win.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a solid thing for the Bobcats, but I think depending on where the brackets fall, I don't know what else is in the low country or in the lower state for 4A, but I think Bluffton could have a chance if things fall right. They could maybe meet May River in the lower state finals from what I had seen.
You might not be right, or it might not be wrong. I mean, Hartsville is pretty solid. Aiken is pretty solid, North Augusta, but Bluffton's right there in that mix, and Buford too, when they're at full strength, I think is right along in there. So yeah, I mean, you think back to a few years ago, we had a May River Hilton Head lower state final.
Yep.
When Hilton Head was not like a powerhouse at all, but they were able to navigate through that bracket and get to the title game. So it very well could happen. And I think Battery Creek, they had a tough Saturday, but I know they were down. They've been down a couple of guys over the break, and so I don't think they were full strength, right, Nate? I know that Ricky was out, and I think Perez was out, maybe a couple others, but they'll be an issue in 3A. I don't think they'll hold up to the Ainers and West Oaks and those, but I could see them making a pretty good run in the lower state.
Yeah.
Definitely for sure.
A lot there. Yeah.
Well, I remember the heel in our foot, at least when I wrestled for Battery Creek, was always going up to Ainer, normally right there. I think for the 3 years I wrestled there, I don't know if he went there my junior year, but I know normally we would go to Ainer, and that's where our playoff host would die normally. Unfortunately, Ainer is such a good program.
I watched them wrestle a whole duel against Fort D on Saturday because I was trying to scout Fort D a little before we see them Wednesday, and Ainer's good. I mean, their guys are well coached. They know what they're doing. They got a style, and they got a few hammers in there. I don't know how Battery Creek. I'd have to do some studying to look at what weights they were best at because I was really more focused on Fort D. But they're pretty good. But I think Battery Creek can match up fairly well with them, be pretty competitive, and they're a top 3 team. So that's a good sign. Bridges has been banged up and didn't have a very good break, but that doesn't mean that much. Same for Whale Branch, and frankly, same for us. We didn't win a lot of matches at the JV thing. We won a few. We had 3 kids beat May River kids. That was tremendously huge for us. Just from a confidence standpoint for them. In a JV event, it's guys that are wrestling varsity for us that are going against guys who aren't for them. But still, just to beat someone who's in that room said a lot for some of our guys, and I know they're feeling better about themselves after that. You beat somebody with that on the singlet, you feel like you've done something around here. So that was exciting, and we're excited to get back at it on Wednesday. We don't know what we'll have coming back off the break. A lot of kids we haven't seen in 2 weeks, so the weigh-ins could be interesting.
Yep.
We had one last time I saw him. He was 157, and he was pumped because he's a middle school guy. He was going to make 158 this time. he came in for that tournament on Saturday at 165. I said, Bubba, I said, I think I might have ate too much at Christmas. I said, you think?
That's when you lock yourself. That's when you lock yourself in the wrestling room with a coach. You put as many clothes as possible, and you just go. You just try and lose. You try and lose as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, he was lucky. There was no one entered at 165 or above, so they just let him wrestle 158 anyway. He got lucky, but that won't happen again. That definitely won't happen on Saturday. He'd be scratched, Bubba. So,
yeah, you qualifier. They're going to make you make the weight. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's part of the fun of coaching novices in this sport is you never know what's going to happen when it comes to weigh-in day. For the longest time, we just put them up a weight because we just couldn't trust them. But man, then if they do make the weight, you're really cheating them, So we started putting it on them more. Like, look, just understand that if you don't make it, you don't get to wrestle. So it's up to you. And most of them are taking responsibility and making weight. They're better at it for a tournament than they are for a duel because they know in a duel if they don't make weight, we'll just bump them up, or they might not have to wrestle because sometimes I'm not sure they want to. Sometimes I think they'd rather have the night off and just hang out and cheer on their friends, but you know how that goes. So we're getting into qualifier stuff starting this weekend. Next 3 weekends will be JV middle school qualifiers going on at Hilton Head, then Somerville, and then the championships at Lexington, girls at Gilbert for middle school girls. So that's coming up. We got a bunch of duels coming through this week, and George will be out there calling a bunch of matches. Nate, when you heading back to Ohio State, buddy?
Head back this Saturday, so I hope I can catch the Wednesday duel, the Creek duel. It's always a good one for me. Especially going back to Creek. That's always a good duel. Is it still called the day duel or?
It's not the. I don't know if they're doing. Are they doing the Coach Day duels?
It was the trap duels. Yeah, it was trap duels, and then they didn't have them last year, so I don't know.
Bummer.
Well, I just know that I remember. I think it was my sophomore year, or junior year. I remember we missed winning the tournament by I think 2 points. We lost to a team that we thought that we would run over. They ended up winning the tournament. It was very bad. It was very bad. That's a bad aftertaste in our mouths, to say the least. A lot of guys are really upset about it. So, hopefully they can go in there. I mean, obviously, probably the team you're looking at to beat is Fort Dorchester. Great school for wrestling right there. So, but I think Creek can hold their own and maybe even get it done with a victory, depending on, just a couple matches go your way. You win a couple ones that you probably weren't supposed to win, and next thing you know, you're in the lead. Hopefully you can hold the trophy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good matchups on Wednesday. So looking forward to that. We got Bluffton Bobcat duels on Saturday, and then we got Whale Branch duels on Saturday as well. A lot of dual tournaments going on, which is cool. I like dual tournaments. It's a lot of wrestling. A lot of wrestling. Gotta love that.
Well, everybody gets the opportunity to get 5. You don't go 0-2 and you're out. I mean, whatever. You get your number of bouts that night, and doesn't matter if you go 0-3, or 0-2 or 3-0. But you get your mat time.
Yeah, and you can maneuver as a coach. Like, if that guy got a forfeit last match, so let's bump him up here and wrestle him. Like, you can do some things like that to try to get people matches, or you can slide people in a competitive situation. Where you might not do that. Somebody who's your backup, you can only put one in a tournament, but in a duel, you can use some platoons and things like that. So that's always nice. If you see another girl, you can match up a girl with her. I like to do that. But yeah.
Well, that'll be good on Wednesday because you are going to have that extra mat for the girls. Right. So they'll have that opportunity to just go in. And again, like you said, for the competitive standing, the morale, I get to wrestle a girl and see how I do against her.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's our girls are tired of wrestling boys. They especially the girls that are at the heavier weight classes. I mean, it's just not a fair fight. But that's where we don't have guys, so that's where we go. Hey, baby, you want to go do it? And they usually say, "Yeah, sure."
Yep.
They go take their whoop. But they're getting tougher, and I keep telling them when you get to wrestle girls, it's going to come back to you. So just keep grinding against those big tough dudes, and and you'll be able to dominate girls your size when you get that opportunity. So we're all zeroing in our weight and getting ready for the stretch run. But I guess that's about all we got tonight, boys. We are a little light on content. I thought we might have some coaches stop in, but I think they're all worn out and dreading going back to work this week. So
there's my buddy Rufus. There's Rufus.
Rufus. What's up, Rufus? You're a good boy, Rufus.
He had to jump up and say hi. He wanted to get his grind in. So
yeah, I love that. We needed another guest, Rufus. Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Hey, look at that. Okay, I'm all that. All right, you bet your camp.
I think that's about all we got tonight, boys. But we should have a good week of wrestling. We'll have much to talk about next Sunday, and I'll make a little better effort to make sure we get some guests in here to talk wrestling on the Lowco Grind, presented by Reverence Wrestlng Club. I think Coach Blake from Reverence is going to try to stop in next week as well to try to elevate the discourse a little bit here on the Lowco Grind. But if you want to take your skills on the mat to the next level, you got to get to Reverence. Hope you didn't miss the open mat this afternoon, 11 to 12:30 every Sunday. They've got an open mat, whether you're a member or not. You can get in there for just $15. So get after it. Oh, yeah. Richard Jennings saw something cool. 6-year-olds wrestling at JP2. They had the Reverence Open over there a couple of weeks ago. Bull Sharks also had a tournament over at Bridges Prep. That's something that's not foreign to me or probably even you, George. Because I grew up out in Kansas where I won my first bracket at 5 years old. It was me and Terry Cunningham in the 6 and under 45-pound bracket, and I caught him in a cow catcher and pinned him quick and got the gold medal. So yeah, we start them young out in the Midwest, but we're trying to start them a little younger out here.
Midwest wrestling is completely different. For club football, one of our guys wrestled in Pittsburgh. And I mean, he just said, like, just seeing Midwest wrestling, I got the fortunate opportunity to commentate for the NC State Ohio State match, and just seeing those guys out there. A lot of those guys born and raised Midwestern, just completely different wrestling over there. When you wrestle against Midwestern people, you always get a good tournament. So it's definitely Midwest wrestling is definitely something else.
Yeah, that's where it's at. But yeah, you got to call Ohio State NC State duel, huh? That's a good scrap.
Oh yeah, definitely. Seeing Vincent Robinson, number one guy, 136, I think, great wrestler, and Jesse Mendez, hopefully three-time national champion, great wrestlers, just all the way around. The 285 duel was amazing to see two top 3 guys go at it like that. Probably one of those guys are going to win the national championship this year. So it was really nice to see, a preview of what the national duels will be. I'm really excited to commentate more for Ohio State wrestling, coming off a national championship dual win. But honestly, in reality, you don't win the national duels until you beat Penn State. So hopefully this year, Ohio State can give Penn State a run for their money. I would sure like to see it, especially because Penn State kind of said we don't really need to wrestle the national duels because we think we're the best. So I would love to see Ohio State give Penn State a run for their money for the nationals, especially with the team we have this year.
Hell yeah! So you're on color commentary the rest of the way for Ohio State wrestling.
Hopefully, I would really hope. Hopefully, I can. I've been trying to get some of my friends because unfortunately, not a lot of people do wrestling for color commentating, even at Ohio State. So I'm trying to get some of my friends who do commentating to do commentating with me. I know I have one of my friends who already signed up for that. So if I ever need a commentator for wrestling, he wrestled 4 years at Pittsburgh. So he said he'll come up and he'll do what he can do. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. I hope we can get that upset against Penn State.
All right, I'm gonna have to tune into some live streams. Is this on the official network, the Ohio State streaming network,
or where? The SGR radio broadcast that we do. So with that, I also plan on hopefully trying to get the Ohio State Michigan wrestling match too. I really hope that we can beat Penn State this year. Really solidify that national championship win.
All right, George, you see any of those teams in your travels? I know you call some college matches.
Well, I did college for 20 years. I stepped back after 21. The COVID stuff. COVID stuff was just too much of a pain in the backside. So I stepped back. I haven't done any since then, but I've refereed Penn State and had Cale in my backside. Had John Smith in my backside. The Brands brothers. So yeah, I've had a lot of those guys. Tom Ryan. They've been at places where
flag on you up there.
Oh yeah, they don't mind chewing on you a little bit, but they'll block, throw the block at you. I mean, they'll try to peg you in the head. So I had a buddy that they did, and they threw it right at his head and actually hit him in the head. So yeah, it was they had to have a few words with the coach. You know, throw it onto the mat, not at the referee. So, but anyway, yeah, probably my biggest fun duel that way was Iowa came into UT Chattanooga, and they were hanging from the rafters. I'm glad there wasn't a fire guy around, because he would have been running them out. We were busting fire code, I'm sure, but it was a blast, a lot of fun.
Fire marshal coming down on you. UTC. All right, boys. Well, good stuff. Talking wrestling with you guys, always fun. And Nate, it's been great working with you over this break, and we'll continue working together remotely when you get back to Ohio. And and look forward to it for many years to come. And George, we'll see you on the mats Wednesday night.
Yes, sir. I'll see you Wednesday. Nate, have safe travel back to Ohio.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
man.
Sir.
All right. Well, the rest of you, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night. We'll get back going with the Lowco Sports Lowdown, and then we'll have stuff coming at you all week long here on the Lowco Media Network. So thanks for tuning in to the Lowco Grind. Thanks to Reverence Wrestlng Club for making it all possible. That's the place to go if you want to take your skills on the mat to the next level in the Lowco. And for Nate Chavaria Byrne and George Dixon, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Lowco.